I was recently asked about the limiting power of words, how verbal language may trap us, how it may restrict and perhaps even be used as a weapon to keep us all down. Well, in past articles and videos I have discussed some of this, but this is such an important topic that any clarification that I could give I think would be helpful. To understand the limits of words, we must understand the totality of ourselves, and the restrictions imposed on us here in this material dimension. I have said in the past that we are multidimensional beings. This means that we are far more than what we seem to be just from the physical perspective alone. Using our physical eyes and listening only with our physical ears, then it is easy to suppose, to take it for granted, that we are a certain object quite clearly defined and outlined in three-dimensional space. With our physical eyes we can see the beginning and the end of us, and we can define ourselves as a physical body that takes up a measurable amount of room within a three-dimensional field of space and time. With our physical ears, we can perceive that this body, this object self, seems to have the possibility of creating sounds and through the manipulation of those sounds create a pattern and a complex syntax that eventually allows us all to communicate one object to the other. But from the inner alchemist's point of view, this is merely a lie of the physical senses, because we are so much more than physical things all gibbering at each other. Perhaps the best way to explain this is to try to imagine what a dream experience might be like. In a particular dream, you might imagine yourself to be someone you are not, in what might seem at the time to be real life to you. For example, in a dream you might be a person that you are not. In a dream, you can be a totally different you. And, generally speaking, most people completely forget about the physical existence that they left behind the moment that they start the dreaming process. Dreams can take us to a whole different world, and in that world, we are oftentimes different people, and in rare occasions we may even find ourselves in completely different worlds with wholly different laws from the ones that rule our waking reality. Moreover, most of us tend to completely forget our dreams, or may remember only slivers of them when we wake up the next morning. And during this dream, if we can remember any of it when we wake up, we may be incredibly fascinated in an odd and sometimes even morbid way, how it is that we can completely forget during that dream that we are something else while we are awake. In that sense then, dreams can show us that we have the possibility to exist in other places, and while in those places we have this propensity to forget those aspects of ourselves that we left behind. In the same way that in dreams we can forget the physical being that we are while awake, during physical existence we also forget that we are more than just physicality. What I am trying to say is that physical existence is just a dream, and you are forgetting the fact that you are more than this. This means that we are now dreaming ourselves as being physical beings, we are a dream dreaming itself as a physical person. And just like any dream, while in that dream we forget about the fact that there are different aspects of us that are beyond this dream, that there are aspects of ourselves not bound to the physical world. While we are dreaming physicality, we forget about the fact that there are different aspects of us existing in other places. Our dream self, the physical being that we become while we are dreaming this physical life in a physical world, forgets that we are far more than this. It forgets that we are multidimensional beings, beings of great proportion, and that only slivers of us, only a small sliver of the totality of ourselves, are caught up in a dream we call reality. While in that dream, we wholeheartedly believe that we are only that physicality. But in the same way that we sometimes seem to wake up a little bit in our dreams, become lucid for small moments, we can sometimes wake up a little during physical existence. In those moments of fleeting lucidity, we may have glimpses of a larger existence, small little glimmers of illumination, that revealed to us in relative ways just how big we are and just how limiting and constricting this current dream is. The thing about any dream location is that while there, the gravity of that place makes us forget about everything else, and it also restricts us within a certain parameter of possibilities. Every dream position has a particular set of laws and principles that are to be found in that location and that are very difficult to break. Indeed, the laws of any particular dream position are impossible to overcome if we forget about the fact that we are a dreamer lost in one particular dream position. While in this physical dream, we feel that we are bound to words, because the only way that we have to communicate the only way that we even feel that we can communicate with ourselves is through these words. Many of us are so lost in this particular dream that we often feel that words are the only way that we may know and experience reality. While lost in the gravity of this physical dream, we are overcome by the trap of this place, and accept the supposed laws of this place without question. The gravity of this dream makes us believe that rationality and the syntax of rationality, the words and terms that we use, is the only thing available to us. Such a restriction is the gravity of this place. Further, inner alchemists believe that this gravity is additionally compounded by the titanic force of the archon, which rules this particular dream position. Such a force makes waking up from the dream very difficult. During physical existence, this dream gravity that we might refer to as rationality does not only bind us to words and their arrangement, the syntax of rationality, it also actively pits the parts of us that are experiencing this dream against ourselves, so that in the end we become our own worst enemies. This is the great power of the archon. Words will never be able to express the totality of what you are, of what the world truly is. They can only help to describe certain aspects of this particular dream position that we are now in. Moreover, since the gravity of this place affects not only us as dreamers, but also all of the dreamers that are here in this particular dream position with us, we must not only contend with our forgetting, we must also contend with the forgetting of everyone else, and the drive within them to try to bend others to the will of this place, the will of this dream position we call physical reality. This is a most important point. But the moment you can learn to perceive with more than just your physical senses, is the moment that you start to remember the totality of yourself. This will be the moment that you will start to remember the different aspects of yourself that are scattered across different points in space and time, aspects of yourself that are located in different dream positions. I refer to this ability as seeing, but it can also be experienced through a technique of inner alchemy that I have referred to as the way of the projectionist. Through the development of such personal ability, you can then begin to understand the true reality of your total self, and in doing so the greater perceptive possibilities available to you. Once this happens, you will begin to see that words, the syntax of rationality, are wholly and completely inadequate in explaining and describing the totality of who you are, and the total sum of your potential. Words limit us, they restrict what is possible by telling us that the only things conceivable are those things that they can describe. The syntax of rationality makes us conclude that everything outside of it is an illusion, delusion, a form of insanity. But there is so much more to us, there is far more to us that exists beyond this tiny sliver of physical reality. The greater sum of us exists in locations beyond this one particular dream position. By letting go of those words and learning to perceive energy directly, either through seeing or through the power of the projectionist, we can then begin to realize that there is an incalculable world out there that we can be a part of. If we can let go of those words, we can also slowly but surely begin to participate in a world where we are not just limited objects that can only manipulate our world in accordance with the gravity of rationality. If we can let go of those words, and therefore the gravity of this particular dream position, true magic begins to open up to us. It is accurate to say that all of my books are designed to try to reveal the magic of the totality of us beyond the syntax of rationality. But in this particular case, in order to understand the gravity of any particular dream position, and more importantly what is needed to be able to go beyond the syntax of rationality that is almost total in this modern world, I would highly recommend the book, The Way of the Projectionist. If you are interested in learning more about how to break the great gravity of this particular dream position using the techniques of the projectionist, I will leave a link to this book and the video description below.